Welcome into a special edition of a live baseball postgame podcast. You're listening to Inside Carolina here. That's Mike Cavasinni, a.k.a. Cavi, to all the baseball people that know him at North Carolina. I'm Tommy Ashley, of course. It's Johnny T-Shirt, johnnytshirt.com, and Congruity that sponsors these great shows. Mike, Carolina continues to shorten the lives of its fan base by playing these type crazy baseball games. Another one against Virginia, now on the biggest stage in college baseball. Vance Honeycutt gets it done, singles in. Jackson Vanderbrake, of all people, stepping up and getting a huge hit in the ninth inning. Just your overall thoughts on what you saw today.
That's right. This was another typical Carolina baseball this year, and that's the great part is this team is exciting and this team doesn't quit, and everyone says it, but they play. Coach Forbes has preached it. Everyone on the team has preached it. I mean, they're playing 27 outs. They're not giving one up, and doesn't matter. You have to get that last out to beat us, and if you don't, I mean, you see what this team can do. 5 of the last 9 games, won in the ninth inning, and it just shows the perseverance of the players. I mean, they never doubt it. And I think that's a huge factor going in when you have baseball and you're playing baseball, just that confidence that if you're not going to do it, you didn't get something done. Hey, I didn't get it done. The guy behind me is going to step up. They're going to get it done.
What's sort of cool about this game is a couple weeks ago, Madera didn't get it done. Kobe Wilkerson picked him up. Today, Madera gets the bunt down. Kobe Wilkerson can't get it done there in the bottom of the ninth, and Vance Honeycutt picks him up. Just sort of what you're talking about, the team aspect. One thing I always tell people, Cavi, is baseball games are long, and I'm not talking about the 3.5 to 4 hour games. I'm talking about the 27 outs. Carolina continues to show that there's no reason to get worked up early. It's a long game. Here again, score one in the bottom of the 7th. We'll get one in the bottom of the 1st, of course, to take the lead. But bottom of the 7th to tie it, bottom of the 9th to win it. From a player perspective, and folks, if you're watching this and you're not sure who Mike is, the resume has 4 College World Series on it. And he played a big factor in those. Just talk about from a player's perspective, Mike, of how these games are long. You never lose faith in the dugout. You always know there's a chance until there's not, and Carolina's proven that over and over.
That's right, and I think it goes back to, and it's a great thing that you just brought up, and it's something that I know Coach Forbes and Coach Fox did a great job when I was at school, but the 27 outs, I mean, that's something that we consistently do something, and we did at practice, and I'm sure Coach Forbes does it, but you do a practice plan where we're gonna be on the field till we get 27 straight outs, and you have your players in the field, and you have batters, and they're hitting balls everywhere. And if you make an error, if you don't get an out, you're starting over. And that, I think, from the time you step on campus and you start going through those drills, you start going through that in practice. Exactly what you said. 27 outs is a long time. It's a long game, and when it comes to baseball, it's the mental part. And I think Coach Forbes putting the players in those situations in practice, letting them go through it. And then, as they've talked about on TV, it's just the belief feeling. I mean, now that it has been done, it's been done consistently, the team continues to believe. And I think that's something that carries over with this team. It's certainly carried over with the teams that I played on. And it's just something that I think everyone adopts. And when you have the coaching staff that preaches that, they preach the love, they preach the player behind you is going to pick you up. If you can't get it done, and Colby, as much as he wants, right, he's just trying to put a ball in play, to make something happen. It doesn't happen. I mean, baseball is a game of failure. So, hey, you didn't get it done, but guess what? You got the guy behind you, and, of all the people on the team to have up, even having 4 of them that have finished the game with a walk-off, Vance Honeycutt, it couldn't happen to a better person, couldn't happen to a better guy, and certainly not a better team. But to see that, and to see that excitement, I mean, the guys just know. You don't see that nervousness. You don't see the heads down if they get behind, if they get in a bad situation. It's just all right, we're moving on. We're going to get the next one, and we're going to win this game.
When you look at it, let's talk about it I mean, obviously Vance has been on a tear lately, and he's done it all over. I think he's clearly the best defensive player in the nation. I don't think there's any question there. And anybody
100%.
that questioned it is lost their mind. But at the plate, we know that at times during the season he struggled. But when it's been time to perform in the clutch situations, he's come up big. Talk about that from a mental standpoint, from a player's standpoint. You played a ton of baseball. I'm sure there was times where you thought you'd never get a hit again. But you stepped up and you did it consistently. How strong do you have to be mentally to sort of keep that going, to keep it up in your head, and to be able to perform when you're in that situation like Vance has done time in and time out?
You're right. I think it's very easy for people to maybe assume or just come into it thinking that he's so talented it's going to happen. But exactly what you said. I mean, Vance was 0 for 4, and not that he had bad outs or bad at bats, but if you're 0 for 4 in any game, mentally that can put a toll on you. Hey, I haven't gotten a hit yet. You may get a little tight. You may put a little pressure on yourself. But again, I think it goes back to just his mental fortitude of what he's done. And I think the belief of his teammates and that he has in his teammates and his teammates have in him. And I think it goes 1 through 9. Everyone on the team is as much as you can get down. And I experienced the same thing. I mean, coming in my freshman year, I remember to this day, Coach Fox, I was leading off my first game, first series, playing a college series, and Coach Fox walks up and he goes, "Hey, I'll see you on third base." Well, it took me over 20 at-bats to finally get a hit and get on base. And every time I got to the play, I could feel a little more self-pressure, a little more just emphasis. Hey, I want to get there. I want to do this. But it really is with this sport of baseball. You take a step back, you take a deep breath. Hey, I'm here for a reason. We've put in countless hours of starting practice in August, and all of this is coming into it. Let's just go back to what I know how to do. Let's go back to my swing. Let's go back to swinging at a good pitch. And, it pays off. And you can see that, and especially when you have the caliber player like Vance, and we could talk forever about him and all the guys on the team. But if you have a pitcher that throws you that sweeping slider and you miss it, and he knew he missed it, and then you see that come back again, I mean, it's something that just shows you fool me one time. All right, I'm not getting tight. I'm not going to make this mistake again. You lay a ball over the plate, and I'm going to put this in play. So the mental fortitude of each player, I think, it starts from the day you start on campus. I mean, this is a game of failure. This is a game you're not going to succeed. We're playing against the top of the top, especially in the ACC. Take it to a whole nother level when you get to Omaha. Granted, we have 4 ACC teams there, so you've seen these guys before, but you are facing an ace every time you step in the plate. You just have to go in. You have to let those nerves of failing out of your head and just go back to playing. Think about being successful. Think about trying to put a good swing, a good at bat for this plate appearance, and let's see what happens.
We're talking with Mike Cavasinni, the first ever Inside Carolina postgame baseball podcast. Carolina walks off Virginia to get the first win, or in game 1 in College World Series. College World Series, you better win the first 2, or you got a long road to go with. I want to ask you about this situation here. Okay, Kobe Wilkerson pops out. Van der Break is still on third. You've got a base open, 2 outs. Somebody on the message boards said you cannot pitch to Vance there. I counter with this, and I want your opinion. Vance is 0 for 4 and had decent at-bats, but he's still 0 for 4. Casey Cook was on fire, and that's who's behind Vance. Put yourself in Virginia's manager, because he's a good coach, and he's done well there. You got that dilemma. Do I pitch to Vance, who's known for doing this, or do I pitch to Casey Cook, who's cooking against Virginia? And there's an inside story there as well, but Cook is having a great game. What do you do as a manager? Do you take your chances, or do you walk him? What do you do, Mike?
I think you see, and I mean, it's a flip of a coin of the result, right? I mean, it's a hit or get him out. And I think that goes exactly to this lineup that Coach Forbes has put together, and also just the talent 1 through 9. But yeah, Casey's having a great game. He's having a great season. And I think that factor plays in to their coaching staff, is who's behind. Casey's a lefty. You got a righty on the mound. You feel better with a right-on-right matchup, no matter who it is. And I think there's there is that sliding scale of emphasis that you're still facing Honeycutt, and there is that little bit of leverage on Carolina's side. But I think that's how he views it, as let's go in. I mean, we have our guy that they want on the mound. They have who they want and how he throws. He obviously has been very successful. He's known to get a lot of guys out. He has a lot of swing and misses, and you just happen to make a pitch that Vance puts a good swing on. But I 100% think the game that Casey has had, the plate appearances he's had, regionals, super regionals leading up to that, that is a huge factor in their manager's mind of this guy behind is hot. Yes, we've been successful this game against Vance. Can we stretch our luck? Can we make him go 0 for 5? Can we get him out one more time? Let's roll the dice, because Casey just seems to be seeing a beach ball up there. And I think that goes to Honeycutt, is no matter if he's 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, if you throw him a pitch that's anywhere near there, he sees a beach ball every time.
Yeah, it is it's something else. The lineup is, Alberto Osuna needs to come along a little bit. We saw Vanderbrake get in there, in there and have some success. So maybe that'll change up a little bit. But the bottom line is Carolina's lineup. If the top's not getting you, the bottom's able to get you. And when they have both going, they end up in the College World Series, and now they're 1-0 in the College World Series with a win against Virginia. Folks in the chat, somebody mentioned don't forget to talk about Dalton Pence. Mike, so let's talk about Dalton Pence. Threw 117 pitches in the regional, did the work against West Virginia, and then he comes out there today, and if Carolina's going to win that game, it's going to be with Dalton Pence on the mound. And he does it again against a Virginia lineup that's just, nasty is the only word I can think of. Those guys hit top to bottom. What's it like to have a guy like that on the mound, knowing that we just need 1 run, we just need 2 runs, we just need 3 runs, and we can get this done with Pence throwing?
It is, all these factors, they certainly culminate together, but you nailed it, and that's huge. And we had countless number of guys throughout the years that I've played that it's that exact feeling. That if you're down runs, if you're tied, and this guy's on the mound, that he is going to keep you where you're at. And it's almost just a sense of relief that, hey, he's going to be on the mound. We're going to ride or die. We're going to win or lose, good, bad, evil with Pence on the mound right now. He's going to get his job done. And I think that just gives a little bit of spark to the position players. It certainly would for me. The first guy that pops out to my mind was Andrew Kerrigan. He would come in, and he's just this, Connecticut guy, bow-legged. You just look at him, you're like, where'd you come from? And he gets on that mound, and you're not beating him. And when he would come out of the bullpen, no matter what the score was, we would know, all right, this game's staying where it's at as far as how many they were scoring. It's now our turn. And it just lets you take a little deep breath, play a little bit more loose, have good at-bats, and know that things are going to line up. And that goes with countless guys that I had. But, Pence just shows it over and over. And I think credit to Gaines. And Gaines is a great friend of mine. Had the opportunity and the pleasure to play with Gaines and see his perseverance of where he came his freshman year to where he was when he finished up, and now doing such a phenomenal job coaching. I think he instills that in these guys. I think they know, and he just adds a little bit more ammunition to their mental approach of, we're going to put the ball in your hands. If you make a mistake, listen, it's not a short leash. We're not going to yank you. Things happen. We understand it's baseball. You got 8 guys, 7 guys behind you, and just throw your stuff. Just be confident, and we have confidence in you. And I think that goes a long way. I think the coaches do a great job of instilling that confidence in these guys, that they don't have to feel like they're on such a short leash. They don't have to feel like every pitch has to be perfect, and allows them to play even better. Allows them to play to their full capability.
Yeah, and it allows them to play free. I've heard them talk about that before. Jason DeCaro goes 4+ innings. Didn't have his best stuff, but he did settle down after a heavy pitch inning in the first inning. Matt Poston comes in and goes 1 2/3, gives up a hit and a run, but certainly continues the good pitching he had against West Virginia, getting over the regional job, and then Pence closes it out. Pence threw 29 pitches in 3 1/3 to do that. against that Virginia lineup, who does not swing and miss, who does not strike out a ton. Can we quantify how big a performance that was? I mean, is
Oh,
there a way to
it's
do that?
no way to put to words. And it really just goes back to what everyone is saying is winning that first game is so key. I mean, it does take a huge weight off your shoulders, but to have those guys, and you're right. I mean, the first few innings, it took a while to settle down. And I think getting the early run certainly helps, especially for a young guy. You just feel like I have it behind me. But you just see it time in and time out. Every person that comes in, whether they are Vanderbreit getting a pinch hit, whether they're coming on the mound, everyone knows an opportunity they have. I think they're set for it. I think the team has done a great job of preparing these guys, and it's just it goes back to I think the strength and the camaraderie of what this team has. And I've talked to Chad to Flack quite a bit about it, and he says there are a lot of similarities to this team to some of our great teams that made deep runs, and unfortunately we didn't get the job done bringing home a national championship. But that all starts from the day you step on the field and you step on campus. I mean, Chad talks about how there's so much fun, there's so much excitement with all these guys in the locker room. They're all trying to hang out together. They're spending so much time together. You see it right here where it doesn't matter who's coming in what situation. You hand him the ball, you give him a bat, he's going to have the confidence to get up there. And just relying on everybody else, I think that goes a long way. Winning game one is huge. It certainly does allow you to take the ease off, take the stress off, and gives your, hopefully if they continue with that route, it gives your pitchers a little bit more rest with their arms.
I was going to ask you, and we're talking with Mike Cavasinni again. Shout out to Johnny T-Shirt. If you are watching this and you're not anywhere local, go to johnnytshirt.com. They've got College World Series gear. You get 10% off your order if you're a premium subscriber, of course, to Inside Carolina. And you see Congruity's logo on our screen here. Go to get that, your small business assessment. Mike, talk a little bit about the College World Series. Everybody, that's the holy grail of college baseball. We've talked about that. Getting there is a big deal, even if you don't win it. And I know that you guys were on the doorstep, and I know ESPN showed the graphics at 12 appearances, no titles. Getting there is a big deal, and it's hard to win. Talk about, as a player, being there. What's it been like for these guys since they got there Tuesday night? And then you've got to play somebody. Not only do you have to play somebody, you got to play a team you've played already.
That's right.
And it's like Virginia, and you're like, damn, we got to play Virginia again? Or is it like, yes, we get to play Virginia again? What's the mindset there for this group? If you're trying to put yourselves in their position, having been there so many times.
Yeah, and I think you certainly, this is from day one, no matter who you are, when you get on campus and you get to the baseball field, I mean, it's plastered all over the Bosch. It's plastered everywhere, right? Omaha is our goal. Every other goal that you have is certainly a great stepping stone. That's all it is. It's a stepping stone to get to Omaha. And in the 05-06 season, right, I mean, the team had fallen short. They lost in the Gainesville Regional in 05. And I think coming back, there was a little bit of chip on their shoulder because of the pitching staff that we had. And I honestly, I fell into a blessed opportunity. And I think that's what helped my career was the first time I stepped on campus, first time I stepped on the field, I'm facing the three best arms in the country: Andrew Miller, Daniel Bard, Robert Woodard. I couldn't have had better competition and tougher plate appearances than I had in the fall. I didn't face anybody that was better than the three of them all season long. And that just transitioned into our season. And I think it goes to, we had to go on the road, go to an Alabama team that was a national seed. They had 5 or 6 big leaguers on that team. And it goes to show, and I know these videos have played, and I watch them all the time, and it shows, hey, Chad Flack just sent Carolina to Omaha. That was the tipping point, I think, for us, and everything was realistic. And then from then on, you have no time to catch your breath. I mean, you are at the stadium, you're packing, you're still practicing, you're still conditioning, you're still weightlifting. Then you're flying to Omaha. And then in Omaha, you're treated, like royalty. You get to the hotel, everything is down to the minute. We have practice at this time. We're going to the Children's Hospital at this time. You really don't have much time to think about anything else beyond what is next. But when it's game time, when it's the day of the game, everything kind of calms down, right? So it's just separating the two. You get so many blessed opportunities of meeting a lot of people out in Omaha. You get to experience things you never would, and just getting there in itself is that's winning. But once you put the uniform on and you're back on the field, everything else just kind of gets tuned out. All the fans get tuned out, everyone around you. And I didn't have the opportunity to play at this new stadium. We played at Rosenblatt, and you're talking about at that time, no one knew Carolina. We hadn't been there in so long, and just the acceptance, and you try and get on the fans' good side. You're taking batting practice. They were all taking batting practice yesterday, but you only get 50 minutes. It's not like you're out there getting to experience the field. It's a brand new ballpark. It's a brand new warning track for us as outfielders, brand new infield. You're just trying to soak it all in and get ready for the game while also just enjoying being in Omaha. It is, like you said, it's one of the toughest things to do. It is a huge win in itself, and being able to separate all the excitement, all the hustle that you're trying to do to when it's game time, to putting your cleats on, being ready to step on the field. It shows that Coach Forbes, Coach Gaines, Weirs, Coach Howell, they all have these guys ready, and they're all ready from day one. But to get there, to be able to perform like this, I think you personally get excited to see Virginia again, to be honest with you. You see them, you're like, hey, we got another shot. Let's go ahead and show what we can do. It's a one game. Let's leave it all out there. These are our last games of the season. Let's just go and show what Carolina baseball is all about. And I think that showed up from the first pitch. It's just guys are ready. Maybe there's a little bit of nerves, but you settle in and we get back to playing how we want to play.
Indeed, Carolina wins against Virginia, awaits Tennessee or Florida State, either the number one team in the nation or probably the number two team in the ACC behind Carolina at the moment in Florida State. Florida State, of course, advanced out of their super regional. Tennessee, we've heard all about them forever. I mean, that's all you hear about these days is Tennessee baseball. So that'll be an interesting matchup on Sunday afternoon, or I guess Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Virginia awaits the loser of that one on Sunday morning, or Sunday at 2 o'clock. My times are always off, man. I spent the day in Pinehurst yesterday, and 10 hours in that sun and heat, brains cooked. But looking forward to get a chance to go to Omaha if Carolina keeps doing what they're doing. Let me tell our folks watching this a little quick story. I called Chad Flack, and I said, Chad, I need you to do a post-game podcast. He said, man, I'm going to be in Omaha, but I got the perfect person that can do it for you. And he hooked me up with Mike Cavasinni, and folks, you've seen why. Mike has brought it here today, right on the fly, no practice, no nothing. I said, we're just going to talk Carolina baseball and tee it up. Mike, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. We'll have to do it again Sunday if we can.
Yes, sir, Tommy. That'd be great. Go Heels. It was great, exciting game. I hope everyone else is just excited as I am. But it's an exciting time of year. This is the best time of year. College baseball's in its finals, and let's keep them rolling. Go Heels.
Shout out to the almost 200 people that joined us. Shout out to everybody at Inside Carolina that's been paying attention. Shout out to Adam, Grace, and Jim Hawkins in Omaha with all their coverage. Stick to InsideCarolina.com. We'll have a full coverage of everything Carolina baseball in Omaha as it continues. Talk to everybody soon.